Hi friends, welcome along to my first ever YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Zach, aka Crochet Me Zaddy. If you're already a subscriber through my YouTube shorts, then thank you so much for supporting me on this little journey. I'm very excited to bring you my first ever long form piece of content. I thought today we could do a get to know me video and answer a bunch of questions that people have always wanted to ask me, or they are always asking me. I thought I might keep it very casual. I thought it'd be kind of cool if I just like work on this project in the background. So this is going to end up being like a granny stitch, granny stripe tank moment. I think it looks really cool. So yeah, I guess let's just get straight to it. Also, the lighting might change at some point. I'm very aware that it is the afternoon now and my room always gets like the sun coming in and it like slowly comes across the room and starts like brightening up the entire room, if not like blinding the camera and stuff. So we're just going to try our best and see how we do and just have fun. Anyway, to the first question. When did I first start crocheting? I was not like a pandemic crocheter. I was actually crocheting a few years behind. It might have been 2017, 2018, just at one of my old corporate jobs before I gave up that life. I was wandering around the kitchen at like lunchtime, as you do, and there was a group of ladies there and they're all like crocheting or knitting or something. I mean, I didn't even know what crochet was at that point, and I went over to them and I was like, hello. What are you doing? And they were like, oh, we're crocheting. And I was like, oh, what's that? And they showed me a few of their pieces and I was like, is that what it's called? Remember, I used to always craft with my mum when I was little, and I was like, oh, can you show me how to do something? And they're like, absolutely. So I sat down with them. It turned out that they were part of the Stitch and Bitch Club at that workplace, and they gave me a crochet hook and some yarn and taught me the basics. So that was my first ever day crocheting, and I think I made like a small, very loosely tensioned granny square, which I have a photo of it somewhere, and if I can find it I'll insert it into here. But that was my first time ever crocheting and I haven't really stopped since then. How did you learn to crochet? So in amongst that group, after they showed me the basics of like how to chain and things, I went back home and they recommended going on YouTube and checking out Bella Coco tutorials. So Bella Coco, she has a granny stitch or granny square tutorial, and I just followed that, and from then on in I was making like a billion granny squares. Like every single time I was taking public transport to and from work, I was crocheting a granny square. I think I got it down to roughly each granny square would take me about, I want to say between 5 and 10 minutes. Like I was like powering them out, and I had the biggest intentions of making this big blanket, which I never finished, and I now have a pile of these granny squares somewhere back in New Zealand, so who knows. But that was how I learned, was mainly YouTube, finding those tutorials, learning from them, and then I guess going on from there. So I actually still have my first crochet piece. It is my pin cushion. I'm very proud of it. I mean, like, if you don't count all the granny squares that I made, because that was literally all I made was granny squares, this would be the first thing I made. Okay, it's got a lot of pins, like needles jabbed into its face right now, but it actually is, I call it Mrs. Prickles, and it was during the pandemic was when I actually started doing like amigurumi, because that was always the intention. Like after I learned to do those granny squares, I learned that you could also make dolls with it, and I was like, I really want to make like a Pokemon doll or something. And so I kept buying all these different color yarns with like intentions of making like a Bulbasaur or something, and I just never did. And then it was only once we went into those first initial lockdowns that one of the ladies from that Stitch and Bitch Club earlier, I would go on Zoom calls with her every single morning and afternoon, and we would talk about crochet, and she would have a look at my project so far and give me any tips and tricks. She was the one who told me how to read a pattern. I pretty much owe everything to her for how I learned how to do most things. She was the one who pretty much guided me through everything. Without further ado, if you can have a look at this. This is Mrs. Prickles. Welcome to the stage. I knew that my first ever piece was going to be something that's like a little bit ugly. That's why I made it a pin cushion, because I was like, well, if I'm gonna make something like a little bit ugly, I made it as well make it like useful. As you can see, like the face on it, I didn't know how to do like anything apart from just lines, so she's got like just a little dot face, but I mean, that helps with the charm. And I always say that anyone who's ever getting into crochet should always just make something like little dinky just for fun and be proud of it no matter what it is. And always keep it because it's fun to look back on and see where you started and then where you've got to now. I guess I can take this in like 2 parts. With a lot of my work, I think originally I wanted to make like a lot of Pokemon, right? I wanted to make dolls and eventually just make Pokemon dolls. I had this weird obsession where I was just constantly buying like plushie dolls from Kmart every time we went in. Like me and my friends had this like consumerist game where we would go to the big Kmart, which is kind of like a Target or a Walmart kind of thing. We would go in there and buy these like $5 dolls every time. So I had this like huge collection of them. Anyway, I digress. But I decided that I was like really wanting to add to this collection and make a bunch of Pokemon dolls or a bunch of things that are from like nostalgic eras, like other cartoons and things. And then as the time went on, I made my Pokemon dolls and they all looked very cute. And then once I started designing for myself, I was like, well, I want to make things that are just like small, cute, quick, fun. And so I started making like these little ball characters, which are like the PAL patterns. So if you've seen on my website, there's a lot of them that are kind of like this shape. So you got like a little goat pal, which I just think is cute. Like that's all I'm aiming for, is to make them look cute and like very simple to make. That was the kind of inspiration I needed, was like, one, I want to make things cute. I guess that's where Pokemon comes in, and I just want to make them fun. I don't know if that really answered the question, but we're going for it anyway. Next question. So this was an interesting one. So I started Crochet Me Zaddy on, like, that was during the early days of the pandemic. So my housemate at the time, she had like a vegan eats page, she had a photography page, and then she just had like her normal Instagram page. So this is all on Instagram. And then my boyfriend at the time, he was like, I want to have like a hobby page. It's like something just to keep us entertained, and we were all locked inside, so what else are we gonna do? And so he was like, I'm gonna make like a food page. And because like I'm a little bit competitive, I was like, you know what? If you guys all have these hobby pages, I want a hobby page. And so then I decided that I would make one to record my crochet and also use it as like an excuse to keep, like, an excuse to like, what's the word? Encourage me to crochet more. Once I actually made the crochet page and started posting things about it, I started feeling like guilty if I wasn't posting, which I think is something that people like still struggle with to this day, even if they are like larger accounts and things. Sometimes you feel like there's so much pressure to post something every single day. And I was like feeling that when I had less than like 100 followers. And I just really wanted to like, just, I don't know, post things. And like, I've always been interested in social media and like algorithms and engagement and what do people like and what do people not like, and just the whole world of social media I just find so fascinating, which I think kind of is what pushes me to keep trying to grow across all these different platforms and just have a bit of fun with it. But yeah, so that's where I got started on social media, was pretty much just to be in competition with my boyfriend and my flatmate and have fun. Yeah. So Crochet Me Zaddy, there was like a little bit of thought behind this one. So I wasn't just like, ha ha ha, funny names, but I was trying hard to think of a name. Like, I didn't know if I should include my first name, which is Zach, or something else in there, or like the word crochet. And I was like, okay, if I'm going off this idea that I want to create engagement and get like noticed on social media and like try to push myself to be, I don't really know what the goal was, just to have engagement. I was like, I think I need to lead with the word crochet, because the idea was that if someone was gonna try, like, you know, there's like posts on Instagram and it's like, tag your top 10 favorite artists, or tag people who share this chain of photos, or something like that. I was like, well, if they run out of ideas, they're gonna go at crochet and then my name will pop up. And so that was my idea, which at the start I think was a good idea, because I think if people were doing that, like, I can see it happening on tags now. You go through like the first 7 people that they can remember, and then suddenly there's like 3 accounts with that have crochet at the start. But that was fun at the start, but now I just get tagged in everything. Like, the more traction I gain online, the more I'm getting tagged by everyone everywhere, which I still don't mind. It's just, yeah, it's just kind of funny to me that that was my initial thought, and now it's kind of like, oh god, now I'm just like being tagged in posts that are really irrelevant to me, but whatever, it's fun. Oh yeah, but where did the name come from? So it started off with that was why I put crochet there, and then my friends call me Zaddy just as a nickname, which I thought would be quite cool to like incorporate that, and so I was like crochet Zaddy, I guess. And then I don't know what came across me, but I thought it would be funny. I don't know if it's really loud, but I thought it would be funny to be like when people were being like flirty or something, and they're like, okay, it's quite literally a play on words of like choke me daddy, which is so embarrassing, but I thought it would be funny at the time to make a title like that. It'd be like, haha, funny, flirty, Zaddy coming into this crochet world, like turn the crochet grandma world on its head and make it like flirty, sexy, funny. So it was funny to me, and therefore I was like, great username, Zach. Let's roll with it. But would I change it now? I don't know. I do wonder that sometimes. But anyway, that's where the name Crochet Me Zaddy comes from. A nickname, putting crochet at the start, and then deciding that making it a play on words would be a funny idea. Jesus. I am like literally at any given moment I'm crocheting. I will, if I am sitting there watching a movie with friends, I'm now introducing it into whenever I go out for coffee with friends or at a bar or something, I will bring my crochet along. I am just constantly crocheting. I have so much fun doing it. I love it. It brings me so much like peace, and it makes me feel very accomplished, and you just find so much like happiness in being able to just produce things with your hands and really see like the outcomes of your work right there and then. I just think it's very cool. So yeah, to answer it shortly, I crochet a lot. I am constantly crocheting all the time. Anytime I watch TV, anytime I can have my hands spare, I will be crocheting. So a lot. Interesting question. Originally I was like, I had the big intentions of crocheting full time, and I guess I still do. When I moved to Australia, I had the idea of pretty much going full time crochet. Like I built like a little bit of a following by the time I moved here, and I was like, I can do it. I can do anything. This is my time to shine. And so I started like, I got here and I was like, oh my god, so exciting. But then I realized I didn't know anyone. I didn't have any money. I was like, okay, this is a bit scary. And so for the first 4 months here, I went back into a corporate job, just doing what I used to do, which was like learning development stuff. And then after 4 months, I was like, no, wait, I came here to work full-time in crochet. And so I quit the corporate job, but I still don't have enough money to pay for my rent. So I was like, cool, I'm going full-time crochet. Let's do this. Let's take the risk. And I still don't earn enough to pay for rent full-time. So I ended up picking up a part-time job. Where I am now supervising, venue managing at a restaurant up the road, and it's actually become very fun because like rather than, if most people know crocheters or knitters or anyone who's like a crafty person, it can be very isolating being at home all the time. So it's actually been quite fun for me to be able to have this reason to go out during some nights of the week and go be so social and so productive and on my feet. So it's ended up being like my part-time thing, which helps me pay for my rent. But would I say I still crochet full-time? Yes, because any other moment I'm either making content or I am crocheting or things like that. So would I ever move into crocheting full-time like I anticipated I would before I made this big life change from corporate? I'm not sure. That's still up for debate, so stay tuned. What do you do when you're not crocheting? I hanging out. I don't know. I go to the gym. I'm probably working on content. Like if I am on a train or something and I can't sit down and crochet, I'm normally working on content and photos, editing them, replying to comments, actually replying to my friends. Yeah. I guess the gym, I guess that's it. Otherwise I'm like, I don't know, at my part-time job. Sorry, that's not the most exciting answer. That's pretty much all I do. Hang out with friends, gym, work. Pretty much the same as everyone else. I think there's like a big push to get things done all the time. I was finding that anytime I wanted to make any content or anything, I feel like I had to have a finished project. And so for a long time there, I was like, cool, pump out the piece, show the piece on TikTok, and go to the next piece. Like, and that's what it felt like, a little bit like of a factory kind of thing going on. Like, do the crochet, show the crochet, do the crochet, show the crochet. And I think now, there was actually a video by Emma from Made in the Moment, and they talk about wanting to finish less projects. And I was like, that is such a cool resolution. Like, the idea of actually just taking a pause and enjoying the craft for what the craft is, and relishing in the ideas that sometimes you might not finish a project, but you can still talk about your projects and things like that. You might have seen like a switch up in my content where I just started talking about projects a bit more and being a bit more excited about that. So I think like by being an influencer in the crafting world, I think it has influenced how I want to bring about my work and what I do work on from time to time. But I think that's going in like a full circle from being like enjoying the craft, posting about the craft non-stop, to now going back and like enjoying the craft and posting what I feel like posting. Yeah. Okay. My favorite make, okay, I knew this question was gonna come up and I'm gonna show you all. This is my first ever like plushie make. It is my rainbow Chikorita. Ding! So Chikorita is one of my favorite all-time Pokemon, if not my favorite. I got the pattern from One Up Crochet. I'm not sure if they're still selling this pattern anywhere anymore. This is my first time ever using plush yarn, and I remember people congratulating me, like, not congratulating me, complimenting me on like the stitches, because they all look very even for someone who is so new to working with plush yarns. I just realized the coloring might be a little bit out because this is such like a vibrant lime green. But I thought it was such a cool finished result, and I'm still so happy with it. It just sits like up on top of my desk and looks down upon me as I work. So I'm very proud of Chikorita and I love it. So that's my favorite make. Absolutely, hands down. I don't know if I necessarily like have a pattern or something, but the thing I really like making is like, so I have my patterns where I have like the PAL range, as I talked about before, with like, where did I put it? No idea. Wherever that little goat went to, that was like my PAL range, which oh there. Haha. Anyway, so the PAL range, I really enjoyed making these, but moving on and getting into the buddy range of things, which are like all these dolls I have lined up here, I really like it sounds weird, but I really like just making this body. Like, out of everything, like, I like all of them individually for their own reasons, but like, there's something about making this body shape that gives me a lot of joy, and I will just make like a billion bodies of the same buddy patterns. I would just have so much joy doing so. Don't know what it is, I just love it. So that's my favorite thing to make, is the body of my own pattern. How do you keep track of your projects? I don't. I really don't. I don't know how people do it. I know people like have these, like people get these little tag things. I don't know what they call, but they put them on their projects so they can remember like what hook they were on, or like not what hook they were on, what hook they were using, or things like that. And I don't know, I just kind of remember what hook I was using. But apart from that, like with projects that I've either was like a whip or anything else, I have no idea. I just make what I make. I do not keep track whatsoever. I really like either I am watching YouTube videos of crocheters. I love people who do crochet vlogs. I am heavily inspired by Emma from Made in the Moment. I love watching Jada from Mrs. Moon Heaven, and I'm friends with both of them, so it makes sense why I like their content. I also really like Crochet by Jenna. Is it Crochet by Jenna? Oh, sorry if I got the username wrong. I really enjoy watching your videos. If you end up watching this one, big fan. And like Caleb from Drowning in Yarn, I've talked to him a few times, and that's a knitting channel. I don't know if he posts as many videos nowadays, but I really enjoy watching his content as well. And I could just watch hours of it. And Irina Shah, Fiber Chat's also very cool to hear people's stories from different crafty areas. But apart from like watching the YouTube, it's Drag Race. It's all Drag Race. All I watch is Drag Race and YouTube videos reviewing Drag Race. So that too. I think there's only been one time where I really felt burnout in the crochet world, and that was last year. I think I had just done Amigurumi. That was when I had to do a prompt every single day of May around some kind of theme or something like that to do with Amigurumi, so the plush dolls that I make. I did that for like the first 2-3 years of crocheting or being on like crochet social media, and that one, I don't know what it was, it just took it out of me. It was just so difficult thinking of an idea. Like, I know it's a challenge, but it was just so difficult thinking of an idea every single time, and like trying to post about it and trying to be funny and keeping within that kind of limitation of whatever that theme was. It was so difficult. And then after that, it was like Pride Month, and I just had no pizzazz. I just had nothing left to post about. I just couldn't think of anything, and I just remember feeling so burnt out for like months on end. I just didn't feel like posting or creating. But since then, like this year, I'm so ecstatic. I love crochet. This is so much fun. So that was when I had burnout, but it didn't last too long. Oh wait, the question was, how do you avoid burnout? I don't. I guess it just comes. And like, I mean, if I start getting tired of a project, I just put it down. So like, you may have seen that I've been making that green sweater. I love that green sweater. I've loved making it. Did it turn out the result I wanted to turn out as? No. Am I gonna finish it anytime soon? When I'm ready. When I'm ready. I don't have to. I don't want to pressure myself into anything I don't want to do. That's how I avoid burnout. I don't know if I'm gonna get hate for this, but like Nosew patterns, I get that they're beneficial, and like if you're wanting to like make a bunch of like quick makes for a market, or you just want to make something cute, fun, or if you just, I don't know, don't have a sewing needle or something like that, Nosew patterns can be great. I think that some people rely too heavily on Nosew patterns, and I think part of the craft is knowing how to sew two pieces together, and I'm specifically talking about Amigurumi when I talk about this. Like, I think it's part of the process. It's just like weaving in ends. Like, you can avoid weaving in ends, but like, it's just part of it to sew pieces together, and like, some patterns will have it, some patterns won't. But I think there's been like a big push lately for no-sew patterns, and I get why, but I personally think if people want to like really get into the craft and like improve upon all facets of it, then they shouldn't like only go for no-sew patterns. Is that a hot take? I think so. I'm not using it right now because it's for another project. At the moment, I am in love with my clover hook, my 5.5mm, and my favorite yarn at the moment is Honey Bunny. Wait, is it gonna focus in? Focus, baby. Ooh, it does. Okay, cool. Honey Bunny, I think this yarn is so smooth. It doesn't really, what's the word? Like flake as much as I think Parfait Chunky does, or even Hobie's Baby Snuggles. I find this one is probably like my toughest chenille yarn. I find it is just very smooth, and I find the customer service really good at Hobie. I think it is just a soft yarn. That's why it's my favorite, and I just use a 5.5. I think any bigger or any smaller, my hands start hurting, but this one seems to be that perfect size, so. Is there a stitch or pattern I'm yet to master? I guess the bobble stitch. Like, I have done the bobble stitch so many times over, and it's the one stitch that I will always go back and watch a YouTube tutorial for. I just forget it. Like, I've done it many times. I did, like, Rasmussenresin has a Pufferfish pattern, and that has so many bobble stitches in it. Like, you'd think after so many like times doing it repetitively, you'd be quite good at it. I just keep forgetting. I can't remember right now, for the life of me. So, bobble stitch. That's the one I can't remember. What do I hate doing in crochet? Or what do I love doing? The amount of fluff that gets everywhere. My room is so, it's just covered in yarn. There is so much like fluffy, dusty, flaky bits all over the place. That's what I don't love about crochet. And then my favorite part about crochet is I think there's like so much potential. I think a lot of people join the craft and find it, like they find so much love with it because of their potential things that they can make, like clothes, more utility items like bag, or even the dolls and things. Like, you can make so many easy gifts for people. It's great. I love it. Most of them, I have some up for sale. I put some up for sale on my website. Others I just kind of keep here because I like them, which isn't great because I will run out of room eventually. And then others, no, that's pretty much it. I just either sell them on my website. I put them in like there's like a big container up in my cupboard over there. So I put them all in there if I'm gonna sell them at some point, and then I'll just like casually do uploads to my website when I have the time. Okay, I think that sunlight is coming in, so let's get cracking. Okay, oh, wrong camera. Let's get cracking. I guess before everything crochet, I mean, I'm from New Zealand. I lived there all my life until the past 2 years. I studied a lot of languages at high school. I was really into foreign language learning and everything like that, and always thought that I'd be like a diplomat or even like a language teacher or something cool and fun. And then once I got into, I guess, like post-university, I started working in HR and then in learning and development. So I became like a professional trainer. I'm like the guy who in most large organizations is the one who'd turn up on your first day and be like, hi, welcome, let's have a fun time. Let's go learn about our organization and anything fun. Which suits my personality. That was a good career to have. Because of crochet and everything, my whole world has changed for, I don't know, for the better, I guess. It's fun. I'm still having fun. But that's who I was before. A little New Zealand corporate employee man who loved languages. Why did I move to Australia from New Zealand? I moved over because my sister had a baby. So during the pandemic and whatnot, I mean, I always wanted to go traveling. Like, it's a big thing for New Zealanders to reach like a few years into their corporate life or whatever, the big person jobs or their mid-20s, and then want to travel overseas because we're like an isolated country. So we were like, okay, either people will end up going over to like the UK or over to Australia or somewhere else random. And so I was coming to the end of one of my contracts, the world was starting to open up again, and my sister was moving back from the US with the baby who I hadn't met yet because of all the COVID restrictions. And they were gonna pop into New Zealand for 3 months and then over to Australia. And I was like, oh, this seems like good timing. Like, my contract was coming up for renewal. And so I was like, well, I may as well join in. I may as well go follow them. So they came back to New Zealand. We had a big family reunion, which was all cute and fun. And then I declined my contract renewal and jumped over with them. And here I am still in Melbourne. So very cool. I wasn't planning for this to be such a long video, but there's a lot of questions. So let's get through them. Because I've been sitting here for a while now. What is the biggest difference about the crochet community across the pond? I don't think there is any difference. There's just more spotlight stores. I think that's it. Apart from that, we all have the same struggles with trying to get like plush yarn or access to many yarns, or trying to get like yarn companies to sponsor us and things because we're so far away. So if there's any yarn companies or any companies that want to work with Australians or New Zealanders or anyone from down under, we're all willing. We have followings. We're cool. We're funny. We're hip. Anyway, okay. So for some of you who've been following me for a while, I went over to the USA recently to go meet all the crocheters I've been collaborating with online for a while. So I met people like Andrea from Wickedly Handmade, Drew from Drewby Zoo, Jada, Mrs. Moon in Heaven, Emma Made in the Moment, who I mentioned earlier, Kelsey, Passionate Goods, Brooke from 1/3 Crochet, oh my god, they're gonna hate me. They're gonna hate me. Aidan from Aidanwellscrochet, Mags from MaggsLive. And oh my god, if there's someone I'm missing, I'm so sorry. Was that it? I hope so. Sorry. Okay. It was so cool meeting everyone. It's so surreal having talked to these people for so long and then finally getting to go and meet them in person, and they're just exactly like as authentic as they are in person as they are online. So it wasn't like there wasn't like any surprises or anything. I think the biggest surprise is that Andrea from Wickedly Handmade is way nicer. Not to say she's not nice, but I mean like we already think she's nice online, but meeting her in person, she is the nicest person. She was amazing. I love Andrea. I love you, Andrea. But yeah, it was super cool. So much fun. Loved it. Would love to go back to the US, go see everyone again, or even have them come over to Australia, come say hi. There's a few big creators out there, or even just creators in general, that I'd love to work with. I think it'd be quite fun to work along with most people, but a dream collaboration, I think it would be nice to have like a yarn, like it'd be fun to make a yarn type. So if I ever had my name like attached to like a chenille yarn that I use for doll making or something, I think that would be pretty cool. Oh my god, or if Pokemon reached out. Pokemon, if you were watching this video and you'd like to collab with me to make like a crochet doll for your Pokemon cards, I would have made it. That would be everything I would ever want to do. So there's that. I have no idea. I am enjoying it so far. I think maybe there will be like a fully fledged YouTube channel if you all subscribe and like and comment. Comment what you think I have in store for me in the future. I think, yeah, more collaborations, more exciting new patterns and things at the time of filming. I've got my little devil buddy that will be coming out in a couple days time. I've got more of my designs on my phone ready to be released. If you've seen over my threads, I sometimes release what like the initial design is and then the finished product, so there'll be more of those coming. But I think just an exciting future ahead, so let's see. My number one advice for beginner crocheters is to have fun. If you're just getting into crochet, make something that you want to make and make sure you're having fun with it, and embrace that it might not be perfect. Don't go into making something and being like, why is it not perfect? Why is it not turning out how I want it to? Make something that you think will be kind of fun to be like a little bit dinky, or it doesn't really matter. As long as you're having fun with it, and once you're finished with it, you're very proud of your result. Case in point, my little cactus that I love and I will never get rid of. I think I listed them all. Everyone who was on my USA trip before. I don't know if I'm going to insert the names if I'm too lazy to or not. Who else is there? There's so many people. I don't think I can list them all. Who are my favorite yarn influencers? Who's inspiring me at the moment? I don't know. This is a really hard question. There are so many people. How about you guys answer who your favorite yarn influencers are? Put in the comments below who you think is your favorite yarn influencer. Last but not least, where can you find more of my content? You can find me over on TikTok and on Instagram at @crochetmezaddy with little full stops in between. So crochet.me.zaddy on TikTok and Instagram, and then on Threads as well. And then on YouTube, I think it's all just one word. And that's all I can think of for different social medias. My patterns are on my website. I think that's everything. That's all questions as well. So thank you for coming along on my first YouTube video. I hope you feel like you got to know me a bit better. If you have any questions, chuck them below. The next video, who knows what I'm gonna do. I have a few ideas that I've got written down, and I'm ready to explore this YouTube world. So if you have any advice, please let me know what it's like getting into YouTube. And thanks for joining along and hanging out for this long on this video. It's probably a lot longer than I anticipated it was gonna be, but what the hey, let's have fun. Thanks. Okay, bye. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on my videos, especially if you want to see more, but also if you just want to support me. And I mean, also do that to all your other favorite YouTube creators. Cool. Okay, bye.